Hi guys, welcome back to Suero TV. I'm Lotak Patagyo, your host. So today we have Nana Kgosidialwa in studio today. You know what we do here, guys. We do inspiration. We do authentic conversations. And she actually runs a company called Authentic Lifestyle. So we are going to talk and tap into her because that's what we do. We tap into people's journeys for your inspiration as well as personal finance inspiration. Nana, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Miss Larato. I am so happy to be here.
Are you happy to be here?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, no, you're welcome here. I have been observing your story for a while, and I would really like to, tap into your story, and as well as and what you're doing. But first, let's tap into who Nana is. Who is Nana? And where's Nana from? And yeah,
that's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Every time someone asks who are you, you begin to think, what do I do? What does that even mean?
It's so funny. Every guest says this actually. Yeah.
No, it's true because we go through life and we are defined by what we do.
Yeah.
Our children and all that. So when it comes to who are you, it's almost like, who am I?
Yeah.
But I am Nana Kgosidialwa, like you have already said. So I think I'll tackle that from a place of just where I come from, like you said, and all that. So I am from Mulepolole. I come from Mulepolole. I was actually born in Mulepolole. And I am married in Shakashukwe. Yes. So I studied in Gabs. I went to Itumeleng preschool. It's a preschool in Gabs. Then I went to Ikagem Primary School.
Yeah.
Then I went to Marang CJSS.
Oh yeah.
I went to GSS.
Oh yeah. I also
Secondary
GSS product.
I am GSS product.
Yeah.
And then I went to Botswana Accountancy College. And then I have done Vision University. It's in Australia, so I've done that online, obviously. And yeah, that is in terms of school and that. But in terms of where I come from, I think I'll talk upbringing.
Upbringing,
yes.
Yeah.
Like I said, I come from Mulepolole, but I grew up in Gaborone.
Yes.
Studied here, and yeah, that's pretty much.
That's pretty much it. What kind of parents did you have when you were going?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question for me. I grew up in a very Christian home, right? And what I mean by that, I mean Christian pastoral home.
Oh, you're the pastor's child.
I am the pastor's child. And there's a twist to it. I am really a staunch pastor's child.
Staunch.
Like really.
Staunch.
Staunch.
Yeah.
Like very, very...
Strict
yeah. So my mom and dad... Christian in ministry, both pastors. But I understand, I usually tell the story, it's very interesting. I understand, I don't know, when I was 16 months, so my little sister is a few months younger than I am, right? So yeah, she's a few months younger than I am. So I understand when I was 16 months, she was born. You can imagine at 16 months, I'm such a baby.
Yeah.
And my mom's sister, I came to visit my mom to see her sister who's just given birth. And she says to my mom, since you are here and you're busy with baby, how about I go with Nana? Right. And that was it. My children always laugh and say, Mommy, you were adopted without papers. And I think for me, it makes me realize just how community and family and village was back then.
Yeah.
Not without its ups and downs and all, because it wasn't rosy, it wasn't amazing for me. But I always look at that and I realize, firstly, I've always thought, but why would you just give a child away like that? If I say give away.
Yeah.
But I think I look at it and I realize when there's relationship and love, certain things, I don't think I would do that now.
I wouldn't, but never. But I get you. Then it was a really village thing. She was probably overwhelmed. And
and my mom was a last born, and I can imagine even my baby sister. I look at her and I'm thinking, my baby sister is a baby, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, then I moved to stay with my aunt from 16 months, and she herself was a minister in her own right. So she was in radio, doing kids programs, Sunday school, and also just, so I really come from a Christian pastoral home.
Yeah.
in that regard.
Yeah.
So my upbringing, like I'm saying, obviously I was raised by my aunt.
Yeah.
I used to visit my parents. Visit my parents sounds so wrong.
I get it, but that's exactly what happened.
That is that.
Yeah.
So when schools closed and all that, so I did have a relationship with my parents and my biological siblings. And I always joke and say I'm so blessed I have 2 sets of siblings.
Yeah.
And with my aunt, I'm the last born.
Yes.
With my family, I'm a middle child. I'm a
Yeah.
4th born. So there's 6 of us, and then I'm born 4th.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, there's 5 of them, 6. So 6 is a common thing with me. I was the 6th one.
Yeah.
So I was raised by my aunt. Very interesting. I've had a taste of single parent raising me because she was a single parent and my parents were still married.
So did you move back eventually? Or?
I actually never moved back.
Interesting.
Very interesting,
Yeah.
hey? So I'd visit during school holidays and stuff, but moving back permanently, no. When I moved out of my aunt's house is when I was just after varsity, when I was just starting up my own life.
Career, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This has never formed any sort of resentment towards your parents in any way?
Maybe not resentment,
Yeah.
but it has had me questioning my identity in a lot of ways. Like I've already said, it's almost like, why? There's 6 of us. Why would you give me away? That's
Out of
how
all of us, yeah.
Out of all of us, that's how
Of course,
I
a child would think like that.
you know, I've had questions of did they really love me? Did they? But it's things that I've had to deal with through therapy, through prayer, through just understanding of myself beyond what my parents could do for me. Because I think there's also that place where you realize, you know what, my past cannot define who I then become. But it has been a thing. I remember my little sister I was the last one, the other
but
side.
I get you.
So obviously on the other side, I remember the one time I visited and she asked my mom, Mama nana ke ngwana kana ke lesika.
She was even confused.
She was even confused, you know, but I think it's just things that I had to work through and deal with. I don't think resentment in a sense that I hate my parents so much, how could they do that to me? But I've sought understanding. That's why now I know at 16 months, this is what happened. At some point, I didn't understand it, so I had to sit and
especially
ask.
when you were a child. Did you have a conversation with them, by the way? About
Yes,
it?
I have asked, like, what happened? And it's my dad's words that I had just borrowed, because that's what he said. So I also look back at it and I realized, really, it was a love thing. It wasn't thought through.
To the detail.
Yeah, it was just in the moment.
It was actually a common thing then, actually.
I look
Very
back and I'm
common
thinking,
then.
I would never. I would not.
So funny enough, we actually have a cousin that something like this happened, and he's in South Africa because my mom is South African, and then my mom's mom, my grandmother is from Uchudi, and we had a cousin that was, given to my uncle, to my uncle in South Africa. I'm telling you, he's like in his 50s and he's still angry about it. You see, and I would think it's because, like you're saying, you went through therapy. You can see he wants to come back home. You know, he keeps saying, I want to go back home. And
in saying that, babe, I think it's also realizing that it's not very easy to raise a child that's not yours. And that's what I'm saying there wasn't so much thought into it. In the moment, it's cute. You're taking this baby. You're
supporting your sister.
You're supporting your sister. Your oldest is a little bit, your youngest is a little bit older. But now you get there. But there are people who have a gift for it. But what I want to say is regarding your uncle. You could find that it's not just a thing of struggling. There's obviously certain things that happened. You get.
That probably also contributed.
That probably also contributed. Because I also have certain things that I sat there and I thought, why do I feel like I'm treated a little bit differently? Why do I feel like I'm a bit misunderstood?
Yeah.
Not badly on the people who are raising me, because I believe they were also just grappling and just trying to get at this thing.
How we are figuring it out now.
But imagine now we're figuring it out with our own biological children. Now it's your sisters. You love them. I don't doubt that. But I think there's just certain things that happen and that's why you need to work. I had to do a lot of work. I remember the one time I was in church and I thought I was over the thing. And I was praying, and God said, you need to sort this thing out.
Ah.
Because also a lot of it, and I say this to my friend, that I had to learn to remember so that I deal. Because I think when you're going through something, or when you're going through a trauma, one of the ways that you deal with it, and a lot of us don't know this, we block things out.
Yeah.
And we don't remember exactly what happened.
We literally shelf it.
Because for long I did not remember my upbringing. You asked me, how was it at home? Who was your class teacher when you were in standard 5? It shelves a lot of things. So I sat there in prayer, and God said, you have to deal with this. And the only way to deal with it, you need to remember it for what it is. And I think about it now. I know we haven't gotten there now. I had to remember it and deal with it because I was in a journey of working with people who are going through some of the things that I've gone through.
Yeah, so it could trigger you as well.
It could trigger me as well.
And you didn't know it was triggering.
And I didn't know it was triggering me. You know, so just with that, sometimes it's just exactly that.
Yeah. But would it be that also led you to what you're doing now? Would you say that?
Funny enough, I'm just thinking about it now.
Yeah.
You know, but it was never a thing that because of my upbringing, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I know. Because I think, to be honest, I think if we actually pay attention to our journeys, we go through things for a reason.
100%.
You know?
Well, you say that. It's something also that I totally disagree with. Because I always say, especially the narrative of struggle, that we have this thing that you had to go through it because you had. I say, but I don't know what would have happened if I didn't go through it. Maybe I would be further. You know,
maybe you would have chosen a different career.
Maybe I'd have chosen a different career. But I'm talking in a sense that what a struggle makes us. That we actually need to hear more stories of people who did not struggle and what they became. Because the narrative is that you have to push hard, and we have children who grow up and never had to push. There is this thing that I always give an example with. It blew my mind. So I was listening to Mama Oprah and Miss Michelle Obama.
Yes.
And it seems like Mama Oprah went through it with her menopause. I hope it's a public thing.
Yeah,
right?
She shared it.
She shared it. So now she asks the first lady of the world.
Our first lady. Everyone's first lady.
Everyone. She asked her, how was it with you and menopause? How were the hot flash? And Miss Michelle says, I actually didn't get any of those.
Wow.
Because I get
so we
treatment.
Don't all go through the same.
She says, there's treatments, there's things that you do. I'm not a doctor, I'm not very well versed in that. But I got my injections early, so I didn't go through
the
that.
Hot flashes.
The hot flashes and what. Because
she dealt with it. Okay.
She was proactive. She prevented it before it could come.
She had access.
She had access. You get what I mean? And for her, a lot of us would go with Mama Oprah's story. That, Oprah also went through hot flashes, and that's inspiring. I was more inspired by Michelle.
Girl, you can avoid this thing. So what you're saying is it's not even necessarily a money thing.
I don't think so.
What I mean? I don't even think it's necessary. What do you think?
It's a mindset thing, babe.
Thing. That's exactly where I wanted to get to. It's a mindset thing because I mean, just to analyze there with Oprah, she has the money, but
you'd think she has access to information as well. And we are not trolling her story. No. I think for me, it just showed me that.
If we actually deal with our mindsets and try and have better experiences, we don't have to all have trauma story,
no.
even in our successful lives.
No, we don't.
Yeah, you're right. I get you because what I was trying to pick from this conversation, particularly from this part, was, but everybody does go through a tough time. You know what I mean? But that's not what you're saying. What you're actually saying is if we can avoid it, guys, let's do it. You know, but especially now that we are raising a different generation, we don't have to impact that kind of struggle on them. If by all means, let's learn from our past.
And they will have their own struggles.
Yeah.
But I think if we can realize what our struggles were and work on that and try and impart something different, the idea is that they don't have to go through what we went through.
No. They don't. We can really change the narrative.
We can really change that. But if we sit at a place that we say struggle makes us, we then create struggle scenarios.
Yeah. For our
because
children,
we
for
want
the
to
next
be
generation, yeah. And funny enough, this generation is not responsive to that sham. And they will say, why should I struggle? Because you struggle. They will even say it. And they have a good point. They have a very good point.
And then we keep saying, this generation is so different. We used to, because we
that's what
tolerated.
that was our life, yeah. I don't know if we tolerated it, or just because we went through it does not necessarily mean our children have to go through it.
But I think to a large extent we did. If you think about it, we still ask our children to keep quiet, not to talk back.
What you're saying is we're still imposing.
Right, but they are pushing.
Yeah.
Tolerating, I mean, in a sense that
we didn't push back.
We didn't. We took what we were given. And because they are pushing, and I'm not saying it's right, because there is the part that is not right, and I believe we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But because they're pushing, we stop and learn something.
Yeah.
But with our parents, because they said, when I talk, you keep quiet.
Parenting style then, yeah.
And it was the narrative. We, to some extent, we tolerated it. We took it in.
We took it because the next thing, shoes landing on your head because you're talking back. Yeah.
And I don't like the fact that we look back and we say that's what made us. I just wish we could change that and not accept it. And I'm not saying going back and being disrespectful to our parents, but I think we need to recognize it for the trauma that it has caused to us.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because that's how our mindset begins to change.
Yeah. Even in the way that we'll raise the next generation.
Even in the way that we'll relate to each other, babe. Because we talk to each other in a certain way because that's how we were spoken to.
Yeah.
But if we realize it was wrong that they spoke to us like that,
yes.
we begin to treat each other kindly.
Yes.
I think it's in a lot of things.
Yeah.
Sorry, in our view to money as well.
Yeah,
right?
Everything, there's trauma.
Because now you've grown up in a household where money is a scarcity thing. And we say it, there's no money, da, 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 da. But if we realize that was not even the right way to speak about money.
And that's how they knew it then, but it doesn't necessarily mean we should continue.
Or it does not necessarily mean it was right. Because sometimes in just saying that's what they knew, so it doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it okay.
It doesn't make it okay. You know, let's stop laughing about it. It's not funny.
It's not funny, Michelle. You are right.
It's not funny. But because we laugh about it, we are going to continue that. Because at the back of
it off like it's...
and in our subconscious, it sits there. And what happens when your child gets you upset? It jumps out.
Yep.
Because that's what you know. But if we call it out for what it is,
then we're able to deal with it.
Then we're able to
what it is.
For what it is.
What gave you this epiphany?
Well, I think more than anything, it's the work that I do in terms of study but my journey is one of those that I had to stop and realize that a lot of things are not right.
Yeah.
You know? That's why I said to you, I'm actually thinking about it now and linking it when you're asking me if my upbringing has. Because I realize I'm this passionate about teenagers because of my teenagehood.
Yeah.
You know? But more than anything, it's the study. It's the experiences that I've been through. It's also the world around us where trauma is so normalized.
Yeah.
Where we are aware that we've been traumatized, but we're doing nothing about it. But I think more than anything is the state of our world.
Right now. Like
we're
just so cold and shut out.
We're cold, we're shut out, we're cross. We are hurting.
And we're bleeding.
And we are bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, more than anything, is the state of the world that I look around and I realize it starts with me, firstly dealing, and then it starts with me extending a hand to the next person.
Yeah.
One person at a time,
Yeah.
where you are at,
Yeah.
you begin to say to Larato, but babe, it's not okay, that trauma is not fine. Now Larato looks at it differently and she has a conversation with someone else.
Then it just keeps, yeah.
But I think also my passion for the next generation, because I feel like there's certain things that we need not to pass to our children.
Absolutely. You know, funny you say this because there's a young girl who just approached me and just wants to, you know, get mentored, in particularly on the podcasting and as well as just life in a general. And I keep saying to God, this is my conversation between me and God and myself. And I say, God, the last thing I want to do is make this younger generation feel inadequate about themselves at any point. Please help me make sure that this child, you know, I get to nurture what she needs from me, you know. And I say this because my experience, particularly sometimes for the older generation, is, you know, you need, obviously as young girls, you need to learn from the older ones, you know, and we need to be, this was what you're saying, Nana, we need to be conscious of what we are passing to these children. 100%. Just not necessarily our biological kids, but the younger generation around us that are watching us. They want to learn from us. Let's not snub them. Let us encourage them. Let us show them what to do, you know. But it also comes from, because I was that child. Funny enough, you say that, you know, we're the kids who just didn't say anything, or the shoe would land on your on your head. I was the child who pushed the boundaries. Funny enough, I would also say, no, but that's abusive. I would say that, you know, and I remember my siblings used to just say, yo, to this child, you know, and they just said, Mama, me the schools you're taking here to, and you know, I used to get a lot of pushback as well as, you know, now you look like you're disrespectful, because I didn't understand why.
And you know, when you say that, there's nothing wrong with the principles that our parents were trying to teach us. The method was wrong. The shoes, the what. I believe from that there's something that they were teaching us respect. Because maybe it's in the way that I would talk back. To say, okay, we don't talk like that. This is how the method was. And I'm not asking us to throw away principles, because the next generation needs them. I'm saying let's have a different method to it.
To communicate it.
Let's communicate. Let's explain certain things. Funny enough, this very morning, we were driving to school and my daughter went to the ATM. I learn also from the smallest of things. So she goes to the ATM and I say to her, what? So we went to a different one than the one we usually go to. So, oh, you took a bit long. Is it because that one is different from the usual? She says to me, I actually didn't realize I took long. But can you imagine I would have shouted if I am coming with that mindset? We're late for school. This is even money that you're cashing for yourself. No, why are you taking so long? She did not even realize. So what's the principle that I'm trying to teach there? Urgency. Because maybe that's the principle that she doesn't have. But I would have delivered it in a totally different way that she wouldn't have gotten it.
It's just going to be more trauma.
But she didn't even realize.
So she's going to also now start being, you know, relating, taking along with anything to being scared.
100%.
Versus, oh, okay, that was
and that then takes away from attention to detail.
And the lesson.
And the lesson. So a lot of times there were lessons that we were being taught in the shouting, in the shoe throwing. But did we even get them, babe?
I did. Funny enough, I did. You know, the thing with my mom was very, very principled. We are from a family that is extremely principled with a lot of things, you know. But me, I would challenge the principles to the T, where, but mom, this is the principle. Why are you, you know what I mean?
Why is the method like this?
Why are you not doing the principle? I'm the one that would, I'll call you out if you don't apply on the principles that we are used to. You know what I mean? No. We were taught serious principles, but like you're saying, but it's the method that we were taught. Yeah,
the method. And with some methods, what I'm trying to say is you miss it altogether. Yeah. Because if you look at one of the principles or one of the values that our parents tried to instill within us was hard work, right? How do you see that? It's in the way that they woke us up very early.
Oh yeah,
morning, right? Wake up. Your housemates are running around. Why are you sleeping?
You are going to mop. You're going to clean your age mates' houses.
Isn't it crazy that it's the same? Like, I can relate.
Yes, it's that, because it's the same upbringing. I get.
And when I'm saying, did we get it? my mindset when it came, until I did work on myself, waking up in the morning was associated with a lot of fear. What they were trying to teach me, the principle is amazing. Isn't that what we are all trying to learn now? Get up early, get to things. It's in all the books. Amazing value that you're bringing forth there, Mom. But you went about it wrongly that I didn't even catch it.
You didn't get the message, yeah.
I didn't get the message. I had to learn to wake up. And you taught me how to wake up early.
But now it's traumatic to wake up early. Yeah, got you.
You get what I'm saying? So
now you have your own house. You're like, yo, that's exactly it. Because Mama is not there anymore. Then
so we missed it all together. Yeah. But if we say you wake up early because you want to get up to certain things early, because you want to get certain things in, you want to have your you time, you want to... Yeah. And then maybe they wouldn't have communicated exactly like that. But
that's exactly what they meant. Actually.
That's exactly what they meant.
What is productivity?
My mom would say, so she meant get to things so that you have time for yourself. But it didn't make sense.
That's what she was saying, actually. You rest in the afternoon. It's fine. My mom used to say that.
But it didn't make sense because of the method. Yes. And I'm just saying it wasn't right. And we can do better.
Yeah, we can just do better. We can implement better. This is such an amazing conversation. We're going to take a break and then we'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, welcome back. We're actually in studio. Amazing conversation. We're already inside already when she just came because... You know, Nana and I actually sometimes do have our own conversations on our own, and I just love your depth. Thank you so much for your depth. Thank you for bringing your depth into this conversation. I really appreciate that. Now, I want us to take it back, you know, to why we actually ended up talking about your upbringing, and we started talking about the nitty-gritties of our upbringing, you know. You grew up in a Christian home, you grew up with your aunt, and you obviously you dealt, like you're saying, you had to deal with the being given to your aunt and all that. I mean, this is a very common thing in Africa, and I'm glad that you actually mention it because I think a lot of people are going to resonate because this is very common, you know, and how you dealt with it. So, Nana, you went through therapy for it, right? Now, you had a conversation with your parents about it?
I have had a conversation with my parents, and actually it will get us to where we are going.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I've never had a conversation with my aunt, right? But I've had a conversation with my biological parents.
Yeah.
So I've sat and said what happened, and you know, it was such an amazing conversation. I think sometimes because of things that would have happened, we look at our parents, and I think also to a large extent, society and even our parents do that. We look at our parents as perfect. We look at our parents as knowing what they are doing. And sometimes we get scared to tap into them. There's so much that we can learn from them. And for me, it was one of the most liberating things when I had a conversation with my dad and my mom and just how they were honest with me to say, you know what, I look back and I also wonder what happened there. But this is what happened. Your sister was small. Your aunt it was just out of a place of love. And we thought it was the best thing to do at the moment. And the thing is, we just let it go on and on. And because if you look at our culture, we're not people who converse, hey? Thank God for podcasts.
Yeah.
Right?
Because
now no one could go back to the other and say, hey, Langwana.
Yeah. And also we just don't face, I think besides conversing, you see, like you were saying, we just went on and on. What to them, it was also haunting them to a certain extent.
But no one could say, you know, because now yes, I don't know if I could get into this. I'll quickly just get into it because then things happened. I fell pregnant when I was very young, right? And there's a place now of, it's not something that was said, but you can imagine. Now I gave you my child and they have gotten pregnant. What did you do there? Now you left me with your child forever. Now your child is pregnant. I can imagine these are things that went through their heads. But no one could stand up and just talk about it. And throughout my pregnancy, you could feel the tension.
They can't say it, but you can
feel
it.
Where must she go? Disgrace. What must happen? And I think that was one of the times where I could sit and have these conversations because eventually through that I went back to my mother and father, and that's around when we could have and by then I was 21 years old.
Yeah, that's when you have your first child?
I had my first child when I was 21. Yeah, she was born November. Funny enough, I'm a Feb baby, if you can calculate.
Yes.
Oh, it was the 21st birthday gift.
Got you.
You
Yeah.
know. So now that's when we could have conversations to say, but what happened there? But more than anything, that's when relationship with my biological parents was really cemented, and now feeling like, actually, I am your child. Actually, I felt a bit different there. Actually, look at this, look at us, you know. But in that, talking about my career, it was important that I go there, just explaining this side of things. Then in terms of my career, I am actually an accountant by profession.
Yeah, you mentioned you studied AAT.
Yes, I studied with BAC. I've practiced as an accountant for 7 years, actually, with PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh, okay.
And when the time came to charter, go ACCA or what do they call them, CIMA route and all that, I never got to that. And that's because accountancy was just not sitting with me.
It's boring. I'm an accountant. It's boring. You can say it.
Yeah, I think for me, it was never my thing. Because when I think about it, even how I got into it, it's because that's where the money is in this time.
So none of those things. Yeah, but it wasn't you.
It wasn't me, right? And then 2014, my biological mother passes on.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah.
That's all right. Thank you. So she passes on. And remember, I have just started building relationship with her.
With them, yeah.
From about 2009. Actually, 2013, I had my second child. I had gotten married in the year 2013. I had just gotten married. She had come to also sit with me through confinement of my second child. So it's just amazing. We're having these conversations.
At what age did you get married?
25.
25. Okay,
Yes.
so it's the same father to the child.
Yes, thank the Lord. It is, and I usually say it. It's such a blessing for me. I don't take it for granted that I got married to the father of my first child. A different
yes, no, absolutely.
altogether.
I mean, already you're in a staunch Christian home. Before pregnant and you're young, I can imagine. Besides the tension of the parents, it's also, rabaruti. I can just imagine the navigation there.
No, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, but I think that's also where the growth of my parents as well came forth.
And
and just the love and the relationship. It sometimes you have to go back to go forward, and you realize actually this thing
some things happen
together,
for a reason.
So my mom passes on in 2014, and I sit at her funeral. Remember, I'm in accounting. I don't really like it. In an audit firm where we knock off at like 12 midnight, and it just doesn't work for me. And I think because I am such a talker, and I believe that's what God has called me to, I could not stand sitting there with the numbers.
Behind the scenes. Kana accounting behind the scenes. Yeah, you don't say anything, just work.
Just work. And I did not know why it was just not sitting. So 2014, I sit at my mom's funeral. Difficult time. Such an amazing woman.
She wasn't well?
My mother actually went to pray for someone one morning.
Yes.
Woke up, made tea for my dad, went and, because remember she was in ministry, to pray and maybe counsel someone. On her way back, got a heart attack and died.
I'm so sorry. That was tragic.
No. It was one of the most difficult places of my life. Actually, this year should be 10 years gone, and we still, with my siblings, we talk about it. It goes up and down because you realize
that's grief. Yeah.
No, that was crazy. So she went to pray for someone. The kids, because they're quite popular in Kubako Palape. That's where the church is. My dad is still there. The people saw they say.
She was walking
back. It was in the vicinity. She gets home. My dad sees her. Some kids in the hood. And she says to my dad, breathing a bit heavily. She got to the hospital. She was certified dead. I know, right?
That is very tragic. I'm so sorry about that.
Thank you so much.
Yes, you were telling me about the wedding.
Not the wedding. I was saying her funeral.
Yes, at the funeral. Yes, at the funeral.
At her funeral. Yeah. So I'm listening to people talk about this woman. Even as I tell you how she died, you can almost see the caliber of person that she was.
Yeah.
It's a random Tuesday morning, she's going to sit with someone to pray for them and all that. And people are just talking about how amazing it was, how she healed them with her words, her smile. You know, I sat there and I thought, if I could just be half the person this person was, I think that's when really my purpose was defined. To see
the impact of what your mom did.
Yes, just where I would go also.
What am I doing?
What am I doing? You know,
if self-introspecting.
Yeah, like, but actually I can relate. That's what I want to do. I want to have impact.
Yeah.
I want to impact people with my life. And surely what I'm sitting and doing, I don't feel it. I don't think I'm going that direction. Long story short, it was a morning period. And I remember I said to my husband, actually, I want to quit through the morning. And someone was like, okay, guys, we're all morning. I remember my little sister wanted to quit school. My dad wanted to sell everything. He wanted to sell all of us. It's like, guys, let's just breathe. What's going on?
Everybody wants to know.
Everyone wants to do so. I remember my mom passed on September 9th. She was buried around the 20th. And then Easter, sorry, not Easter, Buipuso. We were all together and everyone was just hurt and all that. But it didn't leave me. You know, you grieve and certain things, well, daddy doesn't sell us no more. But for me, it didn't go.
What didn't go?
The fact that I want to change. I want to pivot.
Yes.
I want to...
Oh, you mean the what everybody wanting to change?
In the moment, it's almost like...
What you're saying, Nana Kgosidialwa.
You know, for me, it just didn't leave. I kept thinking about it.
Yeah.
I remember I had a conversation with my husband again to say, actually, I want to leave accounting. He says, but what do you want to do? I said, I don't know.
But I'm leaving.
But I just want to leave it. I said, I actually don't remember who that person was, but we were at a baby shower. You know, women were always talking, and the lady said to me, I actually think you will do very... You know, we're just talking. She says, you said so many things that have gotten me thinking a lot. I think, and at the time we didn't have a term for coaching and all those things. I think you'd make a great counselor. That's what we knew.
That's the word she used. Yeah.
That's the word she used. I thought, did you just say that? And if you're watching and you remember that, please, I'd want to have a conversation with you. Because thereafter...
That's what God communicates. You know how God communicates.
I know.
When you're praying about something and then he answers through another person. Yeah, basically.
Sometimes it's even someone you don't even know.
Yeah. No, you know? Absolutely. Sometimes it's in the shower.
Sometimes it's in the shower. Anyway.
Anywhere.
So it sits with me and I go back and I say to my husband, actually, I want to work with people. And that is what I wanted to do. At that time, the year is 2015, I want to work with people. I'm thinking we could do something in our garage and I'll have a counseling thing there, And Boo says, actually, I think go and study something short to see if this is what you want to do in line with counseling. And let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did. I studied. I don't know if you know Lifeline Botswana. It's closed now.
Yeah, I remember. That was a really good organization.
It was. So I did counseling skills and personal development with Lifeline Botswana. It was an amazing program because it also helped me to deal with my own things. That's also a huge part of my therapy happened through that as I was learning my counseling skills, because you have to work on yourself first. So that's
when you don't bleed on your clients.
Yeah. So when I talk of therapy and the work that I did, it started there. And the year was 2015. And then from there, you then do counseling sessions. I thought, this is it.
Yes.
This is what I actually want to do.
Did you resonate?
I did. Yeah. I did. I thought this is what I want to do. Fast forward, remember 2015, that means 2 years I had been married. There's our spiritual journey. Then we realized, so we were in the church that I grew up in, Assemblies of God. And my husband was struggling because I grew up there. And
where did he go? Where did he grow up?
That's why I said the conversation about baby before marriage, it's a different conversation altogether. Because when I met him, he wasn't in a church, which was a huge issue as well.
For your family?
For my family. I remember saying to my dad that Otsena Roma, and Papa says, no. But his thing was, everyone would say they go to Roma, even if they don't. If someone says Otsena Roma, because people just say it. Anyway, I said that one would need a whole thing
so funny,
by itself. But where was I?
No, you were actually talking about the counseling journey and the spiritual journey.
Yes. Okay, yes. So now because I grew up there, then it was almost the thing of now we need to almost find a home where we could both resonate.
Because he was uncomfortable at assemblies,
He wasn't resonating.
Yeah.
But I think more now when I think about it and having grown in the journey, I think also as Christians in churches, we can make people feel like outsiders. Because I think the thing is, he never felt as part of family. You come in, your wife grew up in this thing, has a community. And
you feel like an outsider.
Yeah, because also remember you grew up with brothers and sisters in the church. We expected you to marry someone and who is this guy? You get so I think there was also that aspect.
Divides is like
Anyway, that's not the point.
But they happen.
They
almost
happen.
Every church actually.
You know. So now we then go and we find our own church. He actually is the one who says, okay, let's check out this church. I remember actually when he went, I was even away with friends.
Yeah.
We go to this church and remember I'm in that journey. Now I'm counseling and I'm loving it, studied and all this. And the dream is to actually now open my own thing and do this thing full on. And why I wanted to open my own thing is because I didn't know of many organizations that did what resonated with me. You get, I thought I could still come and volunteer here at Lifeline here and there, but there's a pattern that I want to do. And at the time I didn't even know. You'll understand what I'm saying with this. I didn't know.
I'm actually already connecting it.
I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but it was there.
It was inside.
Yeah, I remember my best friend was studying out of the country, and we used to talk about, this is what I want to do. And the year is 2015.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, so we go to this church, and you know the thing is, I look back now and I realize, actually, when God has placed a dream and given you a gifting, no two ways about it. It shall be fulfilled.
Yeah. And it will always nudge you. It will always nag you inside, live inside. Yeah.
It will always be there.
Yeah.
So now we go to this church, amazing church, love it, resonates with everything in me. I am a leader in the church, what.
Obviously, because of where you grew up, automatically you will get into the system.
I also believe, because remember I have siblings who are also in church and stuff, but they did not take my path. Because I don't want to nail it to the fact that I grew up in such a household. This is how this journey came. It influenced it to some extent because of the resonance. But I believe God also had called me for ministry in that season. You get what I mean? Because, so now I'm in that church and whatever through, I think sometimes we only think ministry is just, oh, God has called you, you go. And there's also the metrics that need to happen for you to get into ministry. So I'm a leader in the church, I grow, and the gift is very clear. And I am released as an associate pastor in that church.
Yeah.
And I'm in that church as an associate pastor for 7 years. I have a thing with 7 years. For 7 years. And there comes a point in my life where, remember that dream, the pattern that I did not understand, that God says, actually my husband reminded me the other day, we were talking about something, he says, but babe, don't throw away the work that you did when you're in ministry. Because that's why you've put in the work. We were just talking about something in eventing and how a lot of times we feel the social media does all the work and said, but there is so much groundwork that needs to happen. And he was just saying, and you've done groundwork for years. Because I was saying to him, I've only done this thing for almost 2 years. He says, no, my girl, you've done it for so long. So I'm in ministry for 7 years, and
you were doing the work just in ministry.
Just in ministry, because that's what I'm saying. It's a season that I believe I had to go through. And then 2022, God talks to me about something else. And in that, for me, you know, when you are in the will of God, there's a joy that comes with it. Yeah. Things that don't always go the way you want. It's not like there is no challenges and all that, but there's a peace that you know, I have to be here. Yes. I'm pushing, things are not looking, but I know that I know
I'm in
that
the
I
right
know.
place. I know that I know that I know.
The first thing was the joy just went. The one thing that had been everything for me.
The joy went. So in that moment, I want us to to explain that moment deeper, because it happens to a lot of people. And I think a lot of people do not know that it is supposed to happen, because that means it's time to take it to the next level. Now, what does that mean, Nana? Does it mean go back to the source? This is God. And ask him, what are we doing now? That's basically God saying, okay, time up. It's been good. It's time to take it to the next level. It's not even necessarily time to divert. Take time to take it to. Is that what happened with you?
For me, it was a ceiling.
Yeah.
It was a time to navigate. But when I think about it, it was a time to go back to exactly what God called me to. Those 2015 when I sat at my mom's funeral.
That communication, that aha moment that you had. Because you had an aha moment there.
But it was a journey.
Yeah.
Sometimes we almost feel like the dream will happen now. But for me, the journey was that.
That's
right?
exactly what happens. Like this journey pours into the next. It wouldn't have happened had you not gone through that journey. Yes, I remember the vision that you had at the funeral. I remember that, so. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So now for me, and if you hear me well, I'm not saying happiness. I'm saying joy. Because joy you only get from God himself. Righteousness,
why do you
peace,
say that?
Joy. Because happiness comes and goes. Joy is a constant. So what I lost was not, I could smile. And I'm mentioning this because when I was leaving ministry, everyone thought, but you're good at this. But you're born for, because what they could see was the happiness.
They just see you smile.
They just see you smile.
Was it happy or was just smiling?
You know, for me...
You know how we can smile through things?
I think there was a bit of both. Because remember, I'm so alive when I work with people.
Yeah.
So that's why people were saying, but you're born for this, because when you're with people, it doesn't even seem like you're in a tight spot.
Yes, but Nana, we need to be very clear there that at the time that you were doing it, you were supposed to do it. Hence, people were seeing that you're supposed to do it.
And remember, I'm talking about when the joy went. I'm not talking about the 7 years when it was happening because it was the right time.
Yes.
I'm talking about this piece where I had to move.
So, but they don't know.
They don't know that. Because it's not like they are saying you have been doing that.
Yes.
Like, no, but you can't tell me. One of the things that we had to do in ministry, work with people, there's what we call a zone, like you're a zone pastor. And for me, it was a space where that was growing so much. So you can't tell me you've lost the joy or you want to move from this when this is happening. You know, and there's growth. Yeah. That means you're in the right place, because that's sometimes the mistake. The metrics that we use.
I get you, but it's your journey.
But for me, there was no joy. Yeah. I'll do it, I'll enjoy it because that's what I'm called to. But as I step out of there, it's almost like I shouldn't be here.
So God was communicating. So then what did you do?
It was a very difficult season in my life.
Did you have a conversation with God about it?
That was the main thing that actually kept me. Because I remember even when I went to say that I would like to resign from ministry. Remember, no one resigns from ministry.
No one does. I know a couple of people that have actually.
But it's
even from Catholic Church.
But it's not like people who change jobs.
What you're saying is it just doesn't work like that normally.
It doesn't work like that normally. If you have a job at Standard and in 3 months you're saying these people are headhunting me, it's okay.
Not in ministry.
Not in ministry.
I want to headhunting go ministry.
You get what I mean?
I know, but I get you. It's a taboo thing to do. Yes.
So it was a very difficult, because also what is important to realize here is your journey with God and people that surround you. And some actually from God. Right? Because sometimes in that, and I'm saying that because I had leaders, I loved them to bits. Yeah. They've spoken in my life, upon my life in many areas, and they were right. And I have walked those journeys, and God had shown himself strong, and they were speaking at that time, but it was different.
This time it was between you and God.
It was between me and God.
Yeah.
And there had been places where things had been between me and God. But with this one, because it was such a huge thing, it was difficult.
Yeah. Especially now, because also it's sensitive, like you're saying, it's ministry. So a lot of people are invested in it, you know, even emotionally, spiritually. So it's even more painful because it feels like as our shepherd, our
Yeah,
leader.
not even that, babe.
Come on,
Also,
yeah.
you're making a mistake. You've been called for this thing.
That.
Would you even ever find peace if you're going to walk away from the thing that God has called you to? Because no, I remember my pastor asked me at that time, so what now? So he asked me, what do I tell the people? Where are you going? Give me something. I didn't know what
Give me
to
something
say.
to work with here.
Give me something to, and I look back, he did rightfully so.
Yeah.
Kiraba to kiri, I didn't know.
At the time, you didn't know what to say.
I didn't know. I didn't have it figured out to say to you. And that's another thing with moments with God or Jane. Sometimes I probably knew deep down because the dream had been there.
Yeah.
But God closes your mouth because He is working on this
saying
dream.
that, why not just leave? This is what He says, leave.
And in that, it's almost like, I'm not sure. I don't know. What
do you
but
mean? I'm not going to communicate. Yeah.
But God is almost like it's not time, right?
It's not time for
to say.
Oh yes. Oh, you knew, but you can't say.
Yes, but I didn't even know I knew. You know what I mean? Because I said, I know I want to work with people. I want to continue working with people. But the nitty-gritties of it, but not here. Because that's the other thing. You're working with people here. What do you mean?
But not here. This is
not here, not in this way.
So as you're pivoting and as you're being told to pivot, obviously by God, and at the same time, you don't have all the details on how you're going to pivot, but you have
the dream.
The not just saying go, the inner knowing. Oh.
And I kept saying, I believe God is calling me to
something
and
else.
It's almost like you're bluffing, because and that's the thing, because the church is the one thing that God is busy building. Says, I will build my church and the gates of hell will not prevail. So what other thing can you do besides build the thing that God is busy with?
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you, the navigation of obviously the pastor and the community, the church community, you had to just deal. It was painful. But then how did you move out? And how did you move on?
I just went for it. Like I'm saying, it wasn't easy. So many things then happened thereafter. But because I believe, and thing is, if you...
What steps did you take, Nana? This could be someone listening and saying, oh, I am resonating with this story. Somebody in ministry right now is probably resonating with you right now. And I'm not saying they're going to do it exactly the way that you did, but they probably need the courage.
The first step for me, babe, was to actually resign.
Yeah.
And to believe what God has told me. There were endless meetings between me and the leadership, between my husband and the leadership. The first step was just to stand firm in what I believe God is calling me to. Yeah. That was the first step, right? And like I'm saying, so many things happened. The second step, what I had to do was to actually leave the church that I was a pastor in. And I'll explain you. Yes, things happened. I'll explain to you why. You cannot go forward if you remain in the things that pull you back, right? Not the church itself, but the environment. Like I'm saying, it was the ceiling that I had reached. Yes. And in simple terms, now you sit in the church and you're constantly told you need to be here. You should be in ministry. But you believe God is calling me to this. And there was also a lot of just other things that I cannot say here. Yeah. So for me, that pulled me back. I remember I had a conversation with my husband and said, I go to church and I come back feeling worse.
And that should not
It's pulling me back from actually taking a step and even hearing what God wants me to do.
It's even blocking.
Because God is talking another way. And of course, in that moment, I think it is what it is. But it's like I have these conflicting voices. So I had two choices. Either I stayed in that church and heeded the voice that was in the church. Or I stepped out and heeded the voice of God.
And of course, you had to take that one. I mean, yeah.
It wasn't easy.
But it was
a necessary step.
It was a necessary step.
Right? And I'm not saying, I just want to make this clear. My thing is not that God was not in that place. But for me,
It was your journey.
in my journey, because I don't want us to mistake that for that.
That's not even what we're thinking.
Yes,
now,
that sometimes you sit in a place and everyone else resonates and you don't, and you feel like something is wrong with me. That's the point
That's
I'm
how
trying
you felt.
to
And
bring
sometimes you
across.
need to remove yourself so that you know that I am on my journey.
100%.
Yeah, you know what Michelle Obama said? There's an interview, I have to validate you there. There's an interview she had with Jay Shetty, and she said sometimes you have to leave people behind to get to the next level of your journey.
100%.
And an example that she gave was that sometimes we would feel bad because the people that we're leaving behind. Sometimes some will try and bring them with, but if they're not getting to the levels that we need to get, we have to leave them behind. Unfortunately,
They're not understanding.
Yeah, they're just not understanding, and sometimes and it's because they're just not there, and it's okay.
And sometimes it's also because, and this is the mistake that we make, because your journey, your dream is going this way, and you feel like you need me in your dream.
That's your dream. Yes.
Then
That's
it
your
should
dream.
become my dream.
Yes.
And sometimes we make, and I see it also in marriages. I see it in relationships and friendships. One friend is going this way, and this is with, then they
really blur
even
the
make you
lines.
feel like you should be doing the same thing. Or sometimes not even the friend making you, as the other friend, you feel like, oh, I should be doing what my friend is doing. Or as the spouse, the husband and a wife at home,
I need to be the wife.
I need to do this.
I should not be so ambitious. This is the direction we're taking. My husband is taking us that. And then I feel like, and that's not necessarily who God is. Everybody's called to be doing something on this earth. Yeah.
Yes. So for me, one of the steps was I had to make a decision. If I stay here, I'm gonna die. If I step out, I don't know what's there. I might just die. But this I know. This is familiar. Let me try that which I don't know. And another thing is that God is gracious. And I want to say this to someone who has a dream that maybe is overly influenced by other people or this and that. Even if you're making a mistake, He will catch you.
Yeah, it's your journey with Him.
And I remember even when I was going through this time, it's one of the things that I'd speak to my dad about, because remember my dad is in ministry, to say, Dad, I'm here, this is what's happening. And he always remembered you. He always reminded me.
What did he say?
He said to me, you say you had God. And God is God.
Yeah, and He will have your back.
And He will have your back. So my thing was, if this is not God, and I know God has been here, we have been for 7 years, I should be able, He will catch me.
Either way.
He will catch me. So I had to believe, I had to make up my mind. But one of the greatest things for me, and I should mention this here, is that I have such an amazing husband.
Yeah.
Who supports me.
So what you're saying is support system. You're mentioning your dad. You're also mentioning your husband.
100%.
How did your husband navigate this journey for you?
It was very difficult for him.
Yeah.
Because when you look at my husband in the church, he also had his own relationships. He was also a leader in his own right. And that he also, I believe, had to make a choice and something that he can speak about himself. But one thing for sure, in that situation, he chose me.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was one of the greatest blessings that
we're doing this. Yeah,
and I think also through the journey, if you remember when I was leaving accounting, I sat down with him. So he also remembered my dream for what it was.
And reminds you.
And reminds
you. Because you mentioned earlier, but babe, remember.
100%.
You see what I mean? So what you're saying here, and it's very important that we highlight this, is the importance of being in sync in marriage. The importance of reminding your partner who they are and reminding them what they had mentioned then and what journey we are on here, babe, and the importance of him supporting you. Vice versa, you supporting 100%. Him and also reminding him who he is and what we're doing here. Yeah,
it's very, very important.
What are we doing here? And we are supporting each other to navigate and get to where we need to be getting in our own callings.
Yeah. No, we need to surround us. For some people, they don't have husbands, they don't have partners. We need, because I also have my best friend who also supported me greatly in this in the time. You just need to surround yourself
with people that support the dream.
With people that support your dream.
And remind you.
And remind you. Remind you, and you need...
And validate you.
And validate you. And you need people who are level-headed. Because again, there's people who will remind you things that they shouldn't. I just know my friend had just had too much pizza that day. You know what I mean? But you need someone who sees you. Who sees your potential, who doesn't see the noise and all that. So for me, support system also in the step that I was taking, I just had, and another friend as well, shame. My friends, I had a friend actually, we were going through something the other day, and she popped up at my house and I said, babe, you know you're the last person who should be at my house right now. Because with the way things are going, we shouldn't even be seeing each other. She says, no, I want to be here. I want you to support me and I want to support you.
I don't think I get, why were you the last person to be there?
Because of just, she came to my house. So there's something that we are navigating.
Oh.
And one of the things was that we shouldn't be spending time together.
We shouldn't even be doing this. Yeah.
So what I'm saying with that is you need people who fight for you.
Yes, you need to remind each other, no, girl, we are doing this.
We are doing this.
It's not you alone.
We are in this together.
We are helping you.
We're helping this together. So I think it's just the steps. So when you ask about that, then eventually in the knowing and in the support, in the confusion, because there was that as well, in the misunderstandings, because there were misunderstandings where you sit and you feel like I'm so misunderstood.
Yeah, you feel so lonely. What you're saying is that's very lonely.
That is an important word that you're bringing there, because the thing is, if when you're in ministry, you're surrounded by so many people, you have so much support.
Yeah.
Then you take a step like that, and it's almost like you're all alone.
Yeah. So interesting, isn't it? Yeah, because also I guess it's your journey, So instead of, for me, I must mention, it's, funny enough, I was having this conversation with my sister-in-law about the role of a church. And if we have lost the essence of what a church should be doing. If Nana is feeling this type of way, let's support her. If this is how you feel your journey is, we will give you 100 support. Go and fly.
But I think
I think it really depends.
I think if you look at the church, over time it has evolved like everything else. Churches have mandates and missions and visions and all that, right? And I think the mistake, I was saying to someone the other day, because I'm in a different church now, and I've had my fair share of hate and whatnot in the church. But the fundamental things that, as a person, I need to contribute as well to the church, as much as the things that I expect the church to contribute towards.
Yes.
And I was saying to someone that as long as I'm in that church, I'm going to have to deal with certain things so that I assimilate full on with what the church stands for.
Yeah.
Because for as long as I'm here, I will not enjoy fully.
Yes, so you need to deal with that.
I need to deal with that and but what I'm saying with that, when I'm saying the churches have systems and what in the way that they work and have evolved over time. And I understand you're talking about the love, the support and all that.
The essence of it. Even with the systems and the visions, the essence.
But what I want to say to that is, unfortunately or fortunately, they're still governing to it. You get? Because I don't want to look at people as you didn't support me. People were also confused at the time.
They didn't know.
How do I support you?
Yeah.
What is going on?
What do we do?
What do we do here? Because, and the reason why I'm saying with that is, after some time when things began to open up and people now believed in the dream, a lot of people then came back.
No, because I guess it happens. This is why it's a lonely journey. If it's your journey, it's between you and God. It's between you and God. Others will come as you
because
you go,
people as well. Wait, remember people were also hurt. Someone looked at me in the eye and told me, "You've hurt me so bad." And I'm going through it. And I remember I had a series of meetings, a series of people. I always said to my friends,
board meetings. Those are board meetings.
Because remember, babe, these are people that you've also worked certain days. Someone sat across me and said, "You are the one." And she was telling the truth. who sat me and my husband down when I wanted to leave my marriage.
Yeah.
And you counseled me through it, and you counseled us through it, and we're still together. And you are telling me you're giving up. Because remember, that's how they view
They
it.
thought as if you are giving up on the...
You get what I mean?
Because
So people also did not understand. So that's why I'm saying...
We can't blame them.
In the essence of it, I look back and I realize majority of the people were also just dealing with the thing the way... Some people looked at me and would just cry and don't want to talk. And I don't think they hated me.
I got you.
It didn't make sense.
I can imagine how heavy that was for you. But yes, but now... You've mentioned the steps that you have taken. You had a support system. First of all, you moved out of the church. You left the church. And now, Nana, what's happening now? Tell us about the vision and the implementation of the vision.
All right. So with time now, I'm out of... And I was out of church for a bit. Like I didn't go to any church.
Okay,
so I'm really...
You're just connecting with God at home, yeah.
I'm connecting with God at home, but I'm also so upset with God, if you could say it that way, because like...
Why is there so much drama?
This thing, but precisely.
Why is there so much drama?
What is going on?
Yeah,
you know?
Why is it so hurtful?
Why is it so hurtful? And I remember it was a Sunday. I'm sitting there and I'm linking it. Remember, we had just gotten out of COVID and church was so much on TV and online. And I'm linking with the church that I was in. And
this is the latest church, the new church? Or
the old church,
the old
CRC. So I was an associate pastor in CRC.
Yes, I know.
Yes. So I'm linking with CRC. Still.
Okay.
And at that time, my husband was still also going to church. Because remember, I said he also in his own right.
There was a process.
There was a process.
So it didn't happen like this. What you're saying is we didn't just leave and pack our bags. Yeah.
Actually, I should mention, we never intended to leave the church. But so much happened, like I'm saying to you, that I had to decide. I needed to protect me. There's certain things that I could not just sit and take anymore. And sometimes, and we are having this, and I'm going another way, but it's important that I say this. We're having this conversation with my husband the other day. We enjoy having conversations, especially when we go for a run in the morning. Yeah. So we're just having a conversation about how we subject ourselves to abuse a lot of times, right? And you know where that comes from? The narrative we started talking about. From the suffering. The gold has to be bent and bent. But sometimes we don't have
we just to take it for too long, unnecessarily.
We take it for too long, unnecessarily. We're having a conversation and we're just talking about that. Then someone was asking me, but does God see? And I said to them, but God sees, but you also see. You know, so the intention was never that this is what's going to happen. I actually loved that church so much that what I needed was for God to show me how to continue being there and not feeling some type of a way. Because the thing is, when you've been in ministry and you've been an associate pastor, now you're becoming a member, it was also going to be difficult for the people. That's what I was hoping for. Even for the leadership to help me through that. But it didn't go that way. And there's certain things that I just could not stand for. Anyway, so I'm home, I'm online. And so there were people that I had been seeing at the church through ministry, through working with people. And that's what was difficult for people, because you work, you impact people in your own right, but also as part of the body.
Yeah.
As I'm sitting there, someone messages me. Hi, Nana. You know, I've been thinking that we've been going through counseling with you, and now that you're not in the church, it's very difficult. I really would love for us to continue seeing you, even if we have to pay for it. In that moment. And that's why I said to you, it's almost like God had closed. The well was not dry. It just needed to be dug a little bit for it to come up. It's almost like God had closed. I feel like if I spoke prematurely, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah, so God closed your mouth. It was just
my mouth. And also, I feel like even the well of ideas and what the next step could be.
That's how he works, actually. You don't know where you're going until a certain time.
When that message went, ping! It's almost like, this is it. In the moment, God says, this is what I'm calling you to.
This is what we're doing.
This is what we are doing. Not necessarily the marriage counseling. So then he begins to craft exactly where I'm going. This is the company that you're going to open. This is what it's going to do. I kid you not. The couple did come, but they never came for a whole year. Those people, the person who sent the message, it's not like when I said, now I'm opening the doors of Authentic Lifestyle. They
was
came.
The first customer?
No. But that was where the unlocking was.
That was where God said, This is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. This is what you're gonna. This is the name of the company. Well, of course, there was a beggar. Should we call it there? Should it? But
This is between you and God.
This is between me and God. Remember, I'm alone at home. The family's gone to church. This is what you're going to be doing. And in that, it's not like I have 100% pattern, but it's now open. Remember, God, where are you?
Yep.
The drama. But it's almost like this is where it was all going.
Oh, yeah.
You're still with me.
I'm sure he's like, yeah. Where did you think I went?
It takes me back to 2015. It takes me, it's like,
disconnecting everything. But still, I was still preparing you through everything else. Yeah.
But I was still preparing you through everything. I don't think I had to go through the traumatic side of it. I think there could have been a better way to deal with
absolutely.
that. I don't want to dwell on that as the
Yeah.
preparation. I just feel like there's a lot of misunderstandings that happened and this and that. But I think you see the dots connect
Yeah.
backward, going forward. And on that day, God spoke to me. It was in July. I resigned in June, so it was almost mid-July. The first.
So he communicates that fast, but you have to take action.
But you
first.
know why he communicates that fast, babe? The dream has always been there. The pattern has always been there. It was the navigation and the pivoting.
That had to happen first.
That had to happen first.
For you to hear the next step.
For me to hear the next step. So for some people, it will take longer because you still have to actually get what this dream is. But for me, the journey had already started. The engine had been warmed up.
Got you.
It was actually...
I think it's actually for everybody. The engine is always getting warmed up. I think it's just us who just don't listen and act immediately because we are busy, scared, and thinking, God, is that...
Or the voices that are also speaking you out of that.
Exactly. There are too many voices.
Too many voices, and that's why you need to listen to God first. You need to have a personal living relation. Because sometimes, actually, we say listen to God, and people are thinking, what does he even sound like? When I'm sleeping, funny, even footsteps, ne? And when I'm sleeping and it's my husband coming to my room, I can tell. Or it's his voice. If it's my daughter, I can. Why? Because we have relationship.
You know who's coming.
I know who's, and with God, a lot of us think it's this airy-fairy thing that we don't build. You build, firstly, you need to have accepted Christ as your living and personal Savior, to live within you.
Because he's in you.
Because he's in you. And then you need to build a relationship. How do I build this relationship? As I pray, as I read my Bible, as I commune with other Christians, as I go to church, as I find myself in environments that nurture my spirituality, my relationship with God. That's key. Because for you to know it's him. Because remember, I told you my pastor was speaking upon my life. And my pastor is a gift for me from God. That's what the word of God says. So surely when he speaks upon my life, it should be from God. Right? But if I don't know him distinctly,
you just listen.
I'll just listen to this voice.
Only.
So you need to have a living personal relationship with God.
For you to even be able to say, I'm done here.
For you to even be able to, you need to have confidence in God. And that's built through relationship. That's built through a journey with God. Because what is confidence? Confidence is just believing that this thing will happen.
Yes, yeah.
And how do I believe that my husband will pick me up? He's picked me up so many times.
There's a relationship.
There's a relationship.
There's something that has happened over time that I have your back. So what you're saying is with God, once you have this relationship and he has had your back a couple of times, you know that, okay, we're going this way, we are going.
100%.
And also surrounding yourself with people that have been through that. For instance, they'll say, no, he does communicate that way.
100%.
It's him,
100%.
you know. Yeah.
But I think more than anything, because sometimes the mistake that we make is we're quick to listen to other people. We're quick to take other people's stories and make them our stories. It has to be your story. It's a personal living relationship with God. We can draw inspiration from
stop
other
delegating.
people. We should stop delegating our lives to other people, babe.
Yep. We should stop delegating this relationship to other people. And you just said a very important...
Other people are important in the journey to nurture, to help. It's like even work.
Stop delegating your lives to other people.
Especially your relationship with God. It lies so much on you. Because, and I always say this, when we talk and you say something, for me to know it's God, it's because He's spoken to me. You should not come and tell me something that I'm not...
Yeah. Funny, when you say that, a friend of mine says to me, because, like God uses you without even you noticing. He's using you most of the time. Like you're saying, if you've prayed about something, and then I'll say something, I won't even know that it's Him. I will say something and it's just like, yes, you just answered my prayer.
And there are, places of prophecy and all that, but it has to resonate. When I have a living person, someone called me the other day to introduce me to something, I said to them, that thing does not resonate with me. That's not me. I have the Holy Spirit living inside of me. And right now, I'm telling you, the Holy Spirit in me, and what you're trying to say, it has to.
And you have to know.
You have to know.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So, all right. So, that day, Sunday, the message, you opened the business. That's when, and how did you come in? Now, I get it, Sunday, you got the message, and funny you're saying, these actually were not your customers at any point. It didn't come.
Well, they did later, but actually even not for something else.
But basically, that's how God communicated with you. This is what we're doing. Remember the dream? We're now doing the part that I thought we were going to do. Now you opened the business. And how did you come up with the name? How did you guys agree on the name and what to do? Because I know with business, I mean, I'm running my own business, is that yes, you start somewhere and you start navigating, oh no, we're not doing that. We're doing this, but you have to start. With God, you have to start. Not even just with God only, but you just have to start and you'll just figure it out along the way. You started the business. How did you figure it out, the name, and how is business going?
So in terms of the name, like I'm saying, it's actually funny enough, in that time in the corporate world, because remember I was in ministry, so I didn't know so much what was happening in the corporate world. Though
how to run a business.
I understand. But also at that time, the word authenticity was such a word of the season. If you remember, I had no idea.
It was a buzzword then.
It was right now the buzzword is pivot. Everyone is pivot. There's always words. There's always words.
That's true.
But as I said, so a friend of mine, before I went into ministry, funny enough, a friend of mine and I had run a business that we called Lifestyle Avenue, right? And it was doing events and inspiring and all that. And when I was going to ministry, I actually had to resign from that company. Different story altogether. Yeah. But the thing, because when God spoke to me, because of the journey that I had gone through of feeling like I have to, what's the word I'm looking for? To accommodate, to please, to prove, to what God said, I actually want you to open a company that's going to call people back to a place of origin, to a place of authenticity, because I've built and created people with dreams and all this, and I would want you, this is what I want you to stand for.
Yeah.
So in that's where authentic lifestyle came from. Because I felt like I have had places in my life where, actually I think from just when I was young, I had to make myself so small in order to accommodate other people, or where I had to compromise what I believed in a certain setting because the majority is going in this way. You know, also, like I said, even in that time when I was leaving ministry and everyone was saying to me, but you've been called for this. It's easy to just go with that, you know.
But then you won't feel like an outcast.
Yeah. So the word authentic was a buzzing word. So we played around authentic what, and then it just said authentic lifestyle, and this is, and would say it. So I spoke to my friend, my best friend, I spoke to my husband, there's another gentleman also, that the people that, and that's the thing, the people that are close to me that said, this is the name, and would get excited and giddy and say, yeah, it sounds, listen to that, AL. And the thing with God also, which I think is very important for me to highlight, is the way that we have been introduced to God with time is he's this giant, too serious being that is ready to punish us or what. He's in the detail. He's in the smallest of things. He's just remember the joy that I said had gone? How you feel it coming to life again?
Yeah. Did it come back to life?
It did.
When did it start coming back?
It started coming back after that Sunday. When it's almost like it's opening. You're here now. Remember I felt it's dry. Where are you, God? Everyone has left me. I'm lonely. Just when he's poured back into me, I wept and felt his presence. And from there, I felt the dream come alive. I felt the joy come again. Not without struggle. Not without feeling grief, because I also grieved.
Of course.
The period that I've been in ministry. But that's why I said I'm not saying happiness, I'm talking about joy.
Joy.
Because there were trials and tribulations, but the joy of the Lord, which is my strength, returned to me in that time. So what did I do now? Again, had a conversation with my husband. This is what I want to do.
This is what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. And talking, and there's certain mistakes that I also made in the beginning because of my personality. I'm the person who goes big or goes home. So one of the things that I did, and I think also because of the excitement, the joy, and now I know I got God's backing, sometimes without wisdom.
Yes. I get you.
So then I open doors. I choose one of the most high rental places in the city. For a season, yes, God is there. He's moving, but I'm working for rental. And that is, I'm talking the financial side of it.
Please know that we all make those mistakes at the beginning.
You know what I mean? But it was a journey that I had to learn, and I had to realize. That's the only way you will
I
remember one of my very first clients, amazing woman, she's in business as well. She came to my office and I asked her, what brings you here? And those are some of the traces of God I saw. And she says to me, well, I wanted to check in. This is me personally with where I am. But she says, but you've just opened a business, my girl. I just wanted to come and support me and support you. And for me, those are some of the things that in the mistakes I've made me realize, no, it's not about your location. It's about what you carry and what God has called you to do. It's sometimes we feel like it's the cosmetics. And then I'm not talking about us giving people products that are not of high value.
I get you. But you're not saying not quality. What you're saying is about what is the essence of what am I doing? It's not the look outside.
So those are some of the things that I had to navigate, and I had to study as well, day and night.
So that lady made you have an epiphany about what?
About what I carry. That it's not about the office that people will walk in. God has called you to impact people. I actually think she did say to me that even if we met in a coffee shop, I will be there. I think she said that.
That doesn't matter.
So for
now
me,
we want you.
It made me realize,
what am I doing? Like, what's with the fancy?
What's with the fancy? And nothing wrong. And I love the fancy. And
but I get you. What you're saying is you just didn't want to lose the essence of what you're supposed to do.
Because sometimes we lose ourselves in that.
Ill excitement and nothing else.
Ill excitement. I think it's one of the things that just grounded me. And a lot of study as well. I had to.
What did you study?
Get online. It's a life coaching course. That's what I had to do that. Because I forgot to mention that with time as the industry also evolved, one of the things that I am
industry?
Of personal development.
Yes,
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm mixing up things here.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking in my head and I'm speaking with
it's okay.
One of the things I did is, which I believe is important, is for us to realize that, and this is what I want us also to transfer to our children. There's certain journeys that you don't have to take because other people have already taken them.
It's not your journey. You're actually talking about you.
Yeah, but I mean in a sense of just always tapping into other people. Always asking, always saying, how did you do it? And that's something that I really believe in. I would call it mentorship, but I don't want to, because that's another word that we throw around a lot. It's important for you to realize and appreciate gifts in other people. So there's one gentleman has been in business for long. And again, God will lead and guide you. Why him? I don't know.
I think you've told me about him, yeah.
And God said, that's the person I want you to go and have a conversation
Oh, he told
with.
you this. So God even communicates. Or go there. Yeah.
I did not know them. I had spoken to them, and it's not like we had a relationship.
Oh, it's like you know them. That's what you're saying.
Now I do, because we built a relationship. But at the time I didn't. But he's one of the people actually who really validated me so much in the journey. Because I remember, and he's one person he'd always ask, how's business doing? I say, it's challenging. It says, that's how it should be.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, but he's one, I sat with him, and I want to go back to the personal development, and he said to me, Nana, you have impacted my life. Because I had invited him to church at some point when I was still in ministry. And I've seen you do great things.
Yeah.
And I believe God has called you to this thing indeed. And he started speaking to me. And one of the things that he said that I carried with me forever was just to help me also see the industry for what it is.
Or we are still in Africa. They will ask for certificates.
And this is what, yes, you know.
Even in your journey.
Even in my journey. And, but for me, I think what I'm highlighting here is God speaks to us. We just need to listen. God will tell you, contact this person.
He'll tell you what to do.
If you think about how you and I met, on social media.
Yeah. Please remind me.
Was it
over a book?
It's when we're doing our very first book review.
Yeah.
We didn't know each other, and you said, I want to be a part of this.
Because this is a book I read and it really impacted
me. And this
is
a book. He said, I want to be a part of this. And
now we're here.
And now we're here through other things. You get what I mean?
And we also do coffee.
And you'd probably sit there and you think it just happened.
No, it didn't.
There's so many things that we want to do together. You get what? So
I get you.
What I'm trying to say is God always speaks. We just need to know his voice. And sometimes, and the reason I'm mentioning that gentleman is it will not make sense. But you need to discern, of course.
Yeah. And God will tell you this is what this gentleman will guide you to do.
100%. So those were some of the steps that I've taken, just sitting with people who've walked the journey a little bit. Yeah. Do I take everything that they say? Some I said to them, I'm like, kring, kring. Doesn't resonate. Some I was like 100%.
Because you know what resonates and what doesn't resonate.
And what doesn't
what you're
resonate.
saying is it's okay to tap onto the people that have been in the industry.
It's actually not just okay, it's very instrumental in our journeys and business.
And in fact that God also even mentions it. It means it is supposed to be this way. All right. So how's business?
Business is challenging.
Yeah.
Business, I'm talking money in the bank, right? Business, I'm talking feet in the
coming in
the office.
It's all part of it, by the way.
Right. I'm not going to sell a glamorous thing. It's smooth sailing. And
God do to see the customer.
No, it's challenging.
Yeah,
you have to put your head down and you need to work.
You need to put in the work,
but it's very doable.
Fulfilling.
Very fulfilling.
How's the joy now?
Excessive.
Still there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that I need to mention, we've already talked about that, studying and all that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to study line of your business, but it's another thing to study the climate, to study the finances, I think it's something that you've always said to me, to say, look even outside the country and see people who are doing what you're doing.
And benchmark.
And benchmark and all that. It's very, very important. So business is not just, as I'm here today, I'm working.
That's it.
You get what I mean? It's a part of business. It's a part of branding yourself. It's a part of putting yourself out there. So it's not all rosy, but it's doable and it's very fulfilling. Yeah. And one of the things also that I realize with business, when I'm talking about putting your head down and working, is the world is waiting for your gift, but the world is also watching you, right? If you asked me this question last year, I'd have said to you, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where this thing will work. But I realized people were watching to see, do I want to associate with this thing? What is she doing?
Of course.
What's the credibility of this thing? You get into your second year, now people are embracing. They've watched, now they begin to embrace. I see what you're doing. That's what you said to me when we started. I've been watching your journey.
Yeah. Jesus.
You get it? No, but
Nice,
it's,
but
it's
amazing,
true.
yeah.
It is what it
I've been
is.
watching you. Yeah,
I've been
it's true.
watching you. That's what we do in business. And that's why there is no lost moment in what you put in.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying every little thing counts. But I think more than anything, business requires you to be yourself.
Yeah.
You need
Authentic.
to be as authentic as you possibly can.
Well,
be.
else, and you know what it will do? Because business is so hard, especially in this country, because you have to, I feel our country, you have to put in a lot more work than other countries. It takes longer than other countries. It's I think it's just an economic climate that we have. But I feel if you're not authentic, it will expose you. Even if to yourself, you'll break down.
Life
literally.
does that.
Life does that, yeah.
If you're gonna go and try and be what you're not, before long, we see right through you.
Yeah, even I think business is worse because you're not gonna make any money. You're not gonna do anything, so you better just come back to yourself.
100%.
So, but Nana, thank you so much for coming today. One of the work that you actually do, I know you work with children, but I would like us to make this an episode on its own. I hope that is okay with you. Maybe you can come another time. Is that today you've shared about your journey and how the journey now into the business, and you're now having to qualify yourself. This is the climate. This is how we do things here. Got a benchmark. Importance of having a mentor. Surround yourself with the right people that will speak into you, that will remind you who you are. This is what we've learned from you. Sometimes what you've done, you've taken what you call a leap of faith. You have jumped. What Steve Harvey would say: if you don't jump, you're not never gonna know, because along the way the parachute does actually switch up. God does catch you. Just jump. Literally, you jumped. So you've shared a very inspirational story today, not necessarily in ministry, but I think on a general, guys, if you're not connecting, this is the message I got today. If you're not connecting, if the joy is gone, go back to your creator and he will tell you what to do. And that means it's time to
100%.
pivot,
And I think more than anything, what I want to highlight in all that you've said is that you need to have a relationship with that creator. I don't know what it is for you, for well, I know what it is for you, but for our listener. But you have to believe in something that is bigger than yourself. For me, it's God through Jesus Christ. You cannot just do life.
You can't just exist.
You can't just exist. So you have to, there has to be a leading and a guiding in your life, right? And I know we said we'll speak about it in the future, but I just want to close with this and just say in that, it's also very important for you to realize and recognize your make. Because sometimes we also lean, and we've talked about spirituality a great deal here today, but sometimes we lean so much on our spirituality. If you look at the way God created us, we're the body, we're the soul, and we're the spirit. And if, as a child of God, as you read the Bible, He's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So He created us in His image, and we mirror that. And we don't take the one and leave the other. We don't say, no, I'm the Holy Spirit girl. Jesus and God can, or I'm the God girl, the Holy Spirit. But in the image that He's created us as the body, the soul, and the spirit, we tend to only take, so that you'd realize the body, Jesus Christ came on earth as a physical body. So we mirror that and that, which is this physical body. The Holy Spirit, our soul, that's where our emotions sit. That's where our intellect with. We mirror it with the Holy Spirit. He leads and guides us. The Bible says, and if you think about the decisions that you've made, they've said so much in how you felt, what you studied, and all that. And then our spirit, this is where we commune with God. What I want to say, the long of the short of this is, we need to tap into the way we tap into the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit with us, the body, the soul, and the spirit. It's important for us in this journey, talking about therapies and all that, to make sure all these three are well taken care of. So our spirit, you need to believe in something that is bigger. That's where your identity lies, right? In our soul, you need to deal with things in your life, to grow in your emotions. You need to study, you need to grow in your intellect. Scientists actually say your health begins to deteriorate if you don't learn anything new. Our body, we need to take care of our bodies. And with that, the quality of our lives just gets better and better and better. So I just wanted to highlight that, to say it's one thing that today we've talked about the knowing, about God leading and guiding.
Yeah.
That's just one aspect of our lives. How are you doing in your soul?
Yeah.
Are you dealing with your past hurts? I know we spoke about that in depth
therapy,
in the
yeah,
beginning. Are you dealing with are you growing as a person? Are you doing some sort of self-work? In your body, what are you eating?
Yeah. Are you
Are
exercising?
you exercising? It's
Yeah.
important. All these things
You have to
work
take care of the
together.
temple.
You need to take care of the temple.
For the spirit to work.
For the spirit.
And take care of the spirit too. This is
It
reading
all
the Bible.
works together.
Yeah, everything. So all these elements are so important. This is basically what you're communicating today. There's a book I'm reading. It's called Tuesdays with Maury, and this is
It's called
Tuesdays with Maury.
Oh, okay. Why Tuesdays?
Tuesdays they meet, and it's a young guy meeting with his former lecturer.
Okay.
And his former lecturer is dying. You know, they're really good friends. You know how I had a really good friend lecturer. Me, my personality as well. I remember when I was at UB, I had a very good relationship with my lecturers because challenger with their courses. But you know, he actually now went back to this guy because he fell sick and he's about to die. So they were having conversations every Tuesday. They would meet every Tuesday, and he would tell him about life because the lecturer just loved sharing about life. And he says, "No, well, sleepwalking life. You know, if you knew that you are dying tomorrow, if you only you knew, people." He says people are taking death like it will never happen to them. It's going to happen. You know, so we need to start taking life as if it is going to happen. Like there's a bird right here saying you are going to die, and it can be tomorrow.
That's the one thing we're sure of in this life,
Yep.
actually.
You are going to die, and it's like he says people don't believe it. He says we act like we are not gonna die. So if you knew that you are going to die, what would you be doing today?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, that's very. I honestly, funny enough, you asked me, Lorato. I think if you asked me 2 years ago, I'd have so many plans.
Yeah. Not today?
I'm not saying I want to die tomorrow.
No, you
But
don't.
it's because I'm saying if I died tomorrow,
yeah.
there's so much that I believe I still have to offer this world. I don't want to die yet.
Yeah.
But I will believe I'll die empty. You say that it was my birthday the other day. I actually want to read this message. Ne?
Yeah,
Let me just read it for you.
Yeah.
It's one of the messages that got me bawling my eyes out. And I'm going to read it for you because I'm trying to make a point here that I believe in this season in my life, I have taken out that which I have for this season.
Yeah.
So I don't think
For
there
this
is,
season, yeah.
because
So
the ceiling.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in particular that if I was told I'm going to die tomorrow, I'll quickly do. If you asked me 2 years ago, I'd probably have said to you I'd spend more time with my family, which I compromised a lot. And we'll have that conversation at some point.
Yeah.
But it's a journey that I was awakened to at some point that I started. And when I'm talking about the body, the soul, and the spirit,
That's it.
it's something that I had to
Pay
come and
attention
say,
to, yeah.
there is a level of equilibrium that I need to bring.
Yeah.
Let me just read that message for you.
Was it from a friend? Or?
It was from a friend.
Yeah.
And the thing with me is I love friendship because I believe I am such a relational people.
Yeah.
A person. But not only that, what I realize in relationships is you reflect yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course. You reflect, you see yourself in your friend.
Yep.
Not only that, you are
Show me your
mostly
friends.
yourself with your friends.
Yes.
So if a friend sends me a message like this, for me, I know this is someone who knows me. You know, with your boss, you would filter yourself.
Of course.
With someone that you just met, you want to make an impression.
Yeah.
With your friend, they are speaking because they know you. Anyway, let me just read this to answer your question, because I believe this is, I said to her, you captured this so well for me.
What did she say?
She said to me, okay, happy birthday to you, my friend. I love you so much, and I hope you had a beautiful day. She says, you ought to be proud of yourself. You fought for yourself, your dreams, your passion, your family, and the life you've always wanted. Many people celebrate, I'm going to cry now, celebrate their birthday with a, I wish that is in their hands to change how life is for them. It takes a bold and courageous person to not only think, but to actually action it. Face all the storms that come with it. And I'm saying it's coming from my friend who has seen me through the journey for what it is. congratulations, my friend, for this year that you have stepped into, because I know that much more is coming.
Yeah.
So I think to answer your question, I feel like, and we were saying this with my husband the other day, it's fab. But there is just this which she just said and when she sent this, I realized, actually, Nana, there's so much that you have done. There's battles that you have fought that no one knows about. But if there's anything that I would change, I think I would change my past years to be the person that I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Nana. Thank you so much for that. This is really amazing. Hey, this is really, really amazing. So you die empty.
I really pray to, because the thing with potential is you can never say I've taken it all out.
No, absolutely.
But that's what I pray to, one day die empty.
Yeah.
But with where I am and what I have, I believe I'm doing the best that I can.
I'm sure you are. You've really inspired us today. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys have learned so much from Nana today, because oh my, what a journey. Thank you so much for sharing, Nana. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to bring Nana back. Hopefully you can come back again.
100%.
Hopefully you can come back so that we can actually tap into now what you are actually now doing with your business and what's happening now with your business and into your journey. And thank you so much for sharing your journey.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
No problem. All right, guys. Bye for now.